Hello viewers, welcome to another installment of Healing Conversations with me, your host, Sibisi. The loss of a partner, the loss of a spouse can change drastically one's life. I'm sitting this evening with a friend who has just experienced the tragedy of losing her partner. And I can only imagine the changes that it brought about in her daily life. I'm sitting this evening with reality star, Phume Sibisi Khethang, and she's here to share her journey with us. This is Healing Conversations, where we tap into your mental space. Sis Phume, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It was only a given that we would have you tonight.
Indeed.
I so look up to you, and I so admire your resilience.
Thank you.
And I'm starting here because, as your friend, I personally watched the announcement unfold of the passing of Ubaba Khethang. And I shut down. I shut down on your behalf, and in that instance, I died. How are you?
I am blessed.
Wow.
I'm alive. I am well. Yes.
We spoke briefly before this episode began to be taped. And I said to you, do you feel in some moments that you're faking it? Because you were laughing, you were happy, you were smiling. And I thought, goodness me, I don't see myself having that laughter. I don't see myself erupting in that kind of joy. And I thought, how true is it that you really are in a space of joyousness, if I can put it that way?
I do have moments. I do have those moments where I cry, but I'm not going to be crying forever. So I think what I have done is I have learned to time my emotions. I don't know if it makes sense. Where I'm saying it's fine to cry because I lost my partner, my best friend, my priest, my fashionista, my goat. I lost, we've been married for 11 years. So I feel the pain every day, and I do not fake the happiness because I'm the person that runs away from the pain, but not because I am feeling it or I put it away to say I don't feel the pain. No, I feel the pain and I cry. I just don't cry every day.
So you have your days where you allow yourself to confront the emotions, to feel them and go through them, and then you come to a point where you say, enough.
Let me say this in Sibisi, like the Saturdays for me are the worst because on Saturday, I'm not at work. I am not shooting. I'm not doing it. Saturday, I'm at home. That's where we'll go to a wedding. We'll go to a funeral together. We'll go to a party together. We'll be just together, even doing our garden. Now, Saturday, I've got nothing to do with no one besides friends and family. So that's the day where I think I miss him the most.
You feel the loss the most?
The most. I will wake up in the morning, maybe I open my eyes at 8 o'clock, and I'm thinking, by now I would have coffee in bed. Then the emotion starts up.
So your mind plays out the daily routine of your everyday life.
That I will have with him on a Saturday or on a daily basis, but the Saturdays are the worst. Then I will start crying. But funny enough, like I've said earlier on, to say it looks like I have time managed my emotions because I will cry maybe for 30 minutes, maybe for an hour. And I'll be like, okay, Phume, it's enough. Get up. You've got things to do. You've got a shoot to do. You've got friends to go to. Go. Your husband wouldn't want you to see you like this.
In the 11 years that you had been married, I imagine you had a fairly happy marriage.
Yes.
And he became your friend.
Yeah.
And as you correctly say, the goat in your life. This was your second marriage. Yes. Do you mind, just sharing briefly with us the kind of life that you led, in the 11 years that God blessed you with this partner?
It was a love at first sight. So we met in June 16, 2011, at a pub called Bahamas in Guatemala. He walked in, I was like, ooh, that's my type.
Who's that man?
That's my type. And apparently he was saying the same thing to his friends, to say, I don't know, when Bizamavetan, like the white one, or, you know, the yellow bone, what they would say now. So he like, oh, who's she? So he came across to say, told me his name. I acted big in a small world. I was like, no, I don't have a phone. And he walked away. He said to me, oh, you're lost. My heart bled, because he walked away. When I said I don't have a phone, he walked away. Then a month later, we were like together and he was talking marriage already. And then the following year, he paid lobola, we got married, traditional wedded. And since then, I have never left his side. He has never left my side.
And he became a father to your children as well.
I came into this marriage with 3 boys, and he became a father to my children, especially to the young one, the last born, because he met the last born when he was 6 after my first divorce. And they hit it off. And my younger son said to him, are you here to marry our mother or not? He said, yes, I am. I looked at him, I thought, you haven't asked me, and you're already committing to my children. And I thought he was joking, and he married me.
And he lived out to every word.
And he raised my children like his own. He loved them. He loved the person that I am. He loved me with all my baggage.
Now, Baba Khethang suddenly falls sick.
Yeah.
And you witness this masculine, human being, strong, forceful in character, fully serving the Lord. And suddenly there's a decline in his health, and you watch, his daily life affected.
Yeah. So what happened was, it was one weekend I was shooting Pastor's Wives, a reality show, and we were away. And when I came back on a Monday, I was told he's not well. So I kept on saying, what's wrong? He's like, it's something just happening inside me, next to my heart. I don't know if it's a heart or anything. Then on one Sunday, we went to the doctor. Nothing was really said what's wrong with him. Then on a Sunday, he was preaching at church. But now when he's preaching, I'm looking at him. I'm saying, this guy looks very agitated as he's standing in the pulpit. Because it's like, when a person is trying to rub themselves, like it's itchy, I'm thinking there's something wrong. But I can't tell what it is. And he's looking at me, but it is going on. He is preaching. And I remember that day he was preaching Amahubo 23, Psalms 23, the Lord is my shepherd. So he was talking on that. So I'm thinking there's something wrong with the guy. Then eventually finishes done with the church, we get into the car. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I'm not feeling well. But what is wrong? He's like, I don't know, but I'm just not feeling well. We get into the car, we go to hospital. Then now it's Monday. I don't go to work on Monday. I take him to hospital. We go to the doctor says, take this man to hospital right now. I take him to hospital, he gets admitted. He spent a week there. Friday, they discharge him. They said, no, it was just his heart is not functional well. No, we're like, okay, no, it's fine. He comes back. The following Monday, he gets sick again. Then we rush him back to hospital. Now he's admitted. When we get to hospital, the doctors are waiting for us at the reception. And I'm like, what is this now? And the doctor that we went to, he sent all the results to the hospital. So when we got there, they said, but who is good with Khethang? He's like, I am. They're like, no, it cannot be. He's like, it is me. They're like, how did you get here? He said, I drove myself here. They're like, you drove yourself? Yes. Now, this is our doctors. This is science now. And they say, but your vitals says you are dead.
So they read the report, analyzed them medically, interpreted them, and they expected the worst.
Obviously, they expected somebody in a wheelchair or in a stretcher. I'm not sure. So they said, but your vitals result says you are dead. So he makes a joke. He says, you don't know my God. So they wheeled him. Now it's Monday. They wheeled him to ICU. And Tabi saying, that was the last time I saw my husband laughing and smiling. I proceed, go to work on Tuesday, came back. I promise not to cry. Came back on Tuesday. My husband is on ventilators. I can't see him. He's in the ICU. It's just, I don't recognize him. I'm not allowed to go in. That's how sick now he is. And I'm thinking to myself, but God, he drove himself here. How is this possible? And he spent a good 2 months in hospital.
Hooked to the machines, unable to speak to you.
He was in ICU for good 3 weeks, if I can still remember. Now my husband is sick. Now he's sick, he's in pain. He started developing the blisters on his leg, on his left leg, because now he's not exercising, he's not walking. Then they started doing the scraping of his old dead skin. Tabi said my husband went through 9 surgeries on that foot, 9, to repair him. And the doctors did the good job. Then my husband was discharged from the hospital now.
So now your hope is restored.
Now
you're feeling that
God has answered our prayers. He has fought a good fight. Then he gets referred to a Parkland hospital, which is a rehab center, because now he must learn to walk again. He gets there, my husband is walking, he walks me out. Whenever I come to visit him, he goes to the gym, he goes to chill at the park. All is well. Until one fateful Sunday, I got a call on the 23rd of October, 2022. I received a call to say, when you come to see your husband, Khethang, please don't be alarmed. We have moved him from the rehab to a ward. So I'm like, why are you moving him to a ward? They're like, no, he's having some problem with breathing. I'm like, can I speak to him? They're like, yeah, they give him the phone. So I'm like, what's happening, love? He says, no, I think I've overworked myself because I've got exciting news to tell you. So I think I've overworked myself. So I'm like, oh, okay, so I'll see you at 3. He says, no, it's fine. 2:45, I get a call to say, we are moving him now from the normal ward to ICU.
Oh.
So I'm like, ICU, why?
And in your mind, having been there, here we go again.
Yes. So I'm like, why? So now I am angry at him to say, you fought a good fight. You are walking. Your daughter just came to visit you on a Tuesday. She was here. Everybody's here. Now you even walk us out. Why are you doing this? I get into a car. I'm coming from church, get into a car. I went to hospital. When I got there, my mother-in-law is there and his best friend. He doesn't look sick again. And I'm irritated now to say, don't do this to me. Why are you here? He's like, no, it's a minor thing. Fine. Uma leaves and the friend they leave, we stay. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, no, nothing. And he doesn't look sick. He has no machine on him, but the doctor said they just want, it's a precaution. They just want to make sure. Because he's a heart patient, so they just want to make sure. Now it's raining outside and everything. So he says to me, go home and change. Because you're still wearing your dress, your dress from church. Go home and change and then come back. I'm like, okay, cool. Driving home, I'm thinking, something is not sitting well with me. But I don't know why. But I've got this, I'm overcome by fear and emotions. Get home, change into tracksuits. Now I'm allowed to come to the hospital anytime. I don't have hours to say you come at this hour. Oh. Change, put on tracksuit, I go back to hospital. Go back, I find him asleep. So now I'm really, really like, okay, is he sleeping? Is he dead? What's happening? So I pull him by his feet. I just pull one of his toes.
Yeah.
And then he turned. Like, oh, you here? I'm like, yeah. And he sits up. And then we talk. Like we talking. So he said, I must tell you something. I'm like, what? He said, I'm being discharged. So what they're going to do is on Tuesday, They're going to clear the wounds for the last time. Then on Thursday, I'm coming home. So I'm like, perfect. He says, please tell our builder, because we are building at home. Tell our builder, because I told him about the cement to say it got drained on. Because I was not focusing on the material. I was focusing on my husband who's been sick in hospital. So I'm telling him about the cement to say it get wet on. He's like, no, tell our builder to meet me at home on Saturday at 9 o'clock. And we're going to open up the bag of cement and throw it in our graveyard. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll definitely call him as soon as tomorrow morning. And then he says to me, please bring my gray tracksuit tomorrow because I want to leave Yeka style. So please bring my tracksuit. I'm like, perfect. So I'll bring it tomorrow. So it was a norm for me in Thabiseng to go to hospital every morning and in the afternoon. So it was nothing sinister about that.
Extraordinary.
Correct.
Out of your routine.
So I went home, I prayed, I slept. Monday morning, I opened my laptop. I found out that I've got a meeting at 8:30 at work. So I'm like, okay, let me pop in quickly at the hospital. But when I arrived at hospital, the doctors were doing rounds. So he had a room, like a private room, number 7. I must tell you about number 7 again. So he's got a room number 7. So I see the doctor talking to him. So I can only see his feet. So I'm saying to the sister, can I go in? She's like, no, just wait for 10 minutes because they're doing the rounds, they will leave. I'm like, no, I don't have 10 minutes. I need to be in Sentin. So give him his tracksuit, I'm going to see him tonight at 7. They're like, no, fine, I leave. Germiston, I get a phone call. But this phone call was very strange. I started crying. It was a number that is not registered, the number that I do not know. I started crying. I started shivering. I'm thinking, why this phone? And I didn't answer the first time. They called the second time. I didn't answer. The third time they called, I answered. When I answered, she said, I am Mrs. Van Wyk, Sister Van Wyk from Parkland Hospital. Wherever you are, turn around and come back. So I said to her, should I call the elders? She said, just come back.
In that instant, you had an intuition that something is quite off.
Yes, yes. Because why am I crying? Why am I shivering? Drove back, I got to hospital. And as far as I know, ICU is always closed. The doors are always closed. But when I walked in, the doors were opened. And 3 nurses, they came approaching me.
Towards you, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Who's Sister Van Wyk? They're like, no, please come into this room. So they showed me the room. I'm like, why must I come? No, the doctors want to talk to you. I'm like, about what? Because my husband, so I'm the one that was giving the information to the nurses. She said, my husband is discharged, the medical aid approved everything. What's the story? And then the doctor walks in. He sits, I'm sitting like we seated. I'm sitting, the nurses are standing there. And then he says to me, you know, your husband was a good fighter.
Was.
So I looked at him, I'm thinking, no, maybe Islung like just left me. English is gone now. And then he says it again. I think he's repeating because maybe he can see from my face that I'm not accepting or I am.
You haven't grasped
correct
really what he's saying yet.
So he repeats again. He says, he was a good fighter. He fought a good fight. But we lost him at 8:15.
And that's just some 20 minutes.
20 minutes after I've left. Exact 20 minutes after I've left. So I looked at the sisters to say, what is the doctor saying? So she came to me and she kneeled down. That's where it synced, when she kneeled down. And then she touched my knees to say, Mama, Ntate utsamaile.
He's gone.
He's gone. So I said to her, gone where? He says, he passed on. I'm like, what do you mean he passed on? My husband's supposed to come home on Thursday. How? He was not sick. So the doctor says to me, if this will make you comfortable, your husband did not fight. He was not in pain when he passed on. I was explaining to him how to live now with his condition, especially with the leg and the heart. We were talking I was explaining to him when I want to see him again and all those things.
Again, the doctor says, I was preparing him for coming home.
For coming home. He says, if it's going to make you better, I am shattered myself. Because he was not ill at the moment I was talking to him. He was looking forward to come home to you. He was looking forward to go back to church. Those are the things that they were talking with the doctor. And the doctor said, I only tend to write the scripture for the script for him. And I said to him, Mr. Khethang, can you hear me? You are ready, you are going home. He said, there was no response. There was no response. And I looked at him. I found him, his hand in his tummy, and he just went and he slept.
Make me understand this now. You move from being a wife, a mother, to a widow. And you have experienced the loss of your child.
Huh?
Can I say that witnessing your husband so sick, does that in any way prepare you? Or even the loss of your child? You know, I don't know if I can ever say, does one gain experience when it comes to death?
No, you don't. No, you don't. I've lost my mom, I lost my dad, I lost my sister. So, no, you don't gain experience.
So that it felt like, you know, this is a dream.
You know, when my husband passed, for me, it went back to say, all the people that love me dearly, they are gone. What is God trying to teach me? All the people that they really, really love me, they're gone.
So a sense of abandonment comes into play.
Yes.
Questioning God as well.
I did.
Angry at God at some
to
point.
say, I am serving you, God. I'm doing everything that you asked me to do.
Why?
Why can't you spare me? At least this one, especially my husband. To say, because my husband has been there for me when I lost my mom. He was there. He was there like a brother. My husband will take my mom to hospital when I'm traveling, as if he's taking his own mom. And when my life started to pick up, career-wise, financially, and even God takes him away. So the empire that I'm building, who am I going to share it with?
And who are you supposed to build?
That's what I'm asking God to say. Who am I supposed to share this empire with? I started this empire with my husband.
Let's speak about how society now perceives you.
Yes.
With the change from being a couple to, I would say, back to singlehood, if I can put it that way. What does society say? How does society relate to you? And perhaps when you answer that, you know, culture also comes into play.
Yeah.
You know, you being Zulu, married into a Sotho-speaking family.
Yeah.
How do you mourn? How do you, you know, go through this phase of dealing with the loss in a way that is comfortable to you?
The society is cruel.
To widows, that is.
To widows. The society is cruel to widows because what the society doing to the widows, they are not doing it to the widower.
So there's a difference in how men are treated with such a loss.
Firstly, as women, we must mourn by dressing up in certain cultural clothes. So you are not mourning to the society. If I'm dressed like this, to the society, I'm not mourning.
You don't accord your husband the respect he deserves.
Yes.
You don't respect your in-laws.
You don't respect your in-laws. You don't even respect the community at large because you are not wearing either the black clothes or the blue clothes or the sishweshwe. It depends.
Whatever your in-laws decide
for you. And now you can't work. You can't go out at night. You can't do this. There's a lot that is put on the widows that is not on the men. And as a widow, you have to have the whole year of not dating, of not going to work, of not like really being you, attending weddings funerals or anything that you used to attend because you are in mourning. But a man has a right to marry within 3 months because a man cannot be alone.
Let's take it up one notch further. And the church, again, says, hang on, you have just suffered a loss. You can't serve like you were serving before the loss. You can carry on. What does that do to you?
For me, I have the best church ever. I know other widows, they're going through a lot with their churches. With me, it's different. I am still Mamfundi's Khethang, still sit in the chair that I sat for the past 7 years with my husband. I am still serving as much as I was serving. Calvary Bible Church has taken me exactly, they give me the same respect they gave me when my husband is alive. There's nothing that has changed. I am still doing all the activities and tasks that my husband was doing and I'm doing. Nothing has changed with me.
And that's partly the message we need to drive home, that, suffering a loss of this nature doesn't really invalidate one as a Christian. It doesn't invalidate one in the area of service that they are involved in. In fact, we heal in different ways. One heals more by being active, and one heals by really just, taking their time out and taking a break, in fact, from everything that they do.
Get yourself a copy of our latest books, The Mending of a Broken Vessel and Maintaining Your Joy, a journal for daily positive living. Visit a bookstore near you.